Hello everyone. My 1994 Ford F-150 was behaving badly on the road. It had a rough ride when road surfaces were less than ideal. I do my best to avoid potholes, but you can't always do that. And when this truck hit even a small rut, it slammed so hard it felt like I could break something. I don't know how else to describe it. And that wasn't the dangerous part. Even minor bumps on a highway caused it to jump what felt like 2 feet to one side or the other. Every time I hit a bump in the road, I had to correct the steering to get back to the middle of the lane. It's definitely time for new shock absorbers in all 4 corners. So I started by looking at some leftover shocks I had. These are new old stock I had stored in the barn for years. I found a pair that fits the rear end, so I used them. They aren't the absolute best, but for my purposes right now, they made a huge improvement. I had to order new shocks for the front, so I got better quality shocks for that. I also had to learn how to order shocks for a Ford truck with a factory quad shock suspension, because there are 4 shocks in the front, 2 on each side. When you're ordering for a quad shock suspension, you need to get 2 shocks to mount forward of the front axle and 2 shocks to mount rearward of the front axle. And it turns out the forward shocks are different from the rearward shocks. Okay, it's time to get started. It is time to replace the shock absorbers in this truck. When I first start driving it, the rear end is bouncing all over the place. It takes a while before the shock absorbers get pumped back up and actually do something. The most telling thing is that when I bounce up and down on the rear bumper, the shocks don't seem to do anything to control the bounce, but after a few pumps down and up, they kick in and start to build up some resistance. They start doing what shock absorbers are supposed to do and buffer the bounce. So it's obvious that they lost whatever charge they had, and it's just time to replace them. So I'm going to start by removing this hub cover so it doesn't get damaged by the impact wrench going in and out there, slamming in and out there. This is a 13/16 socket, impact socket. I just loosened the lugs before jacking the truck. Final lug nut removal comes after jacking it up. I showed the shock mounts as best as I could. So there's the bottom of the shock. But it isn't easy to maneuver in limited space. Very easy to get at. It looks like the top is going to be a little more challenging. I'm going to have to shift position and see if I can get a picture. And that's the rear side of the bottom mount. These shots aren't in order. I'm just showing the locations of all these shock mounts. Let's see what we can do here. And there's the front side of the bottom shock mount. This is on the passenger side rear axle of the truck. Correction, driver's side. And there's the top shock mount up there. Oh, this is going to be a lot harder to get at. This is the driver's side top mount. Fortunately, it doesn't look too rusty. And let's see if I can get at it maybe from under here. This is the passenger side top mount. There's the top shock mount on the passenger side of the truck and the bottom mount. That's what the top mount looks like. Let me see if I can get some of this stuff out. That's the top mount right there. Again, these aren't in order. I'm just trying to show what everything looks like. Passenger side, right hand side. And I'll be working on changing those next. And it was really not that tight. Notice I'm wearing a face shield to keep falling crud from hitting my eyes and face. This is the best one I've ever used. I'll include information in the video description. It wasn't as hard to access the driver's side top shock mount as I expected it to be. Oh, that top one's coming off easy too. I pre-soaked everything with penetrating oil, and everything came apart pretty easily. Well, I thought I had better shocks than these on hand. These are going to have to do for now. These are actually very old. They've been sitting on a shelf for years. They're listed as economy shocks on Rock Auto. I'm not thrilled that I'm using these Gabriel Red Riders, because something tells me in a short time I may have to be redoing this job, but we'll see. I'll want better rear shocks if I start pulling a larger trailer. I'm just compressing them and then allowing them to fully extend. That's just to circulate the oil through all the valving and oil pathways it needs to fill up. It's still traveling up toward the top, nice and slow. So that's a good sign. Yeah, that's about it. I'll repeat this process 2 or 3 times. Still extending. fully extended. I'm going to do this one more time. You want to do it, you know, 3 or 4 complete strokes, because this thing has been stored laying on its side for years. The top of the new shock just slipped right onto that stud mount very easily without fanfare. Just slipped right on. And we will see how well we do on the bottom here. I'll be able to show this better on the other side. Press it enough to line the bolt holes up. And there it is. This side is more difficult to get at and to see than the other side. Okay, this side's done. Well, I thought I'd give this a try on the other side here by just scooching all the way under the truck and working on it underneath without taking the right rear wheel off. Just trying to save myself a little labor. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Point of view wrenching. going to try to run the bolt in from this side so I can use the ratchet on the nut on this side. There we go.
That doesn't look right. I switched the nuts and put the bottom nut on the top. There is a difference. I had to swap them back where they belong.
And there we go. All done with the rear shocks. Time to move on to the front. Yep, that's right. There's two shocks up front on both sides. So I figured out 11/16 fits that really tight if I tap it on with a mallet. And then up here, 15 millimeters. Nice.
Somehow I lived 60 years without ratcheting box wrenches. They're really a game changer.
Oh, I forgot to put PB Blaster on this one. Something tells me this is going to be the tough one. Could be wrong. And there it is. It's the first one. Yep, that nut's out of there. I think I'm going to have to jack up on the frame of the truck. Actually, I can put a jack stand under the truck and lower the jack here a little bit to pull this down to allow this axle to drop, because right now the jack's under the axle holding the truck up. That's as high as that jack goes.
I supported the truck frame with a jack stand so I could let the axle down a bit by lowering the jack.
It's coming.
The shocks come with a retaining wire that prevents them from extending under pressure until the wire is removed.
It's 9/16. Can't get my hand in there to hold it. This one doesn't have a nut down here to put a wrench on. Okay. It's tight. I put some zip ties on this thing to hold it compressed. It's the only way I could figure how to get this thing in there and lined up and hold it compressed all at the same time.
Sorry about the lighting, guys. Here's a better shot from the other side of the truck.
So I used zip ties to hold this shot compressed in order to get it in there. Otherwise, that would be a son of a gun. I might as well put some Noverseas on there. I should have put it on the other one, but oh well. That's 3/4 on this one. That's tight. Alright, don't do that again. That stuff splatters all over the place.
so much better. The ride is better. It handles better. It just feels smoother. And when I hit a rut in the road, the truck doesn't lurch sideways like it did before. Those rear shocks were really bad. That had to be the worst part. Well, this was a really big improvement.
Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to like and subscribe.